Hi everyone, and welcome to the Bartons 2019 Federal Budget Update. Well, Scott Morrison delivered his third federal budget on Tuesday night. I think it's fair to say he was grinning like a Cheshire cat, with tax collections up substantially, enabling the federal government to deliver both tax cuts to Middle Australia and also to frame a return to surpluses in future years from 10 years of budget deficits. I'm going to be followed by Ashley Galing, who will talk about business taxation and individual tax reforms announced in the budget, and she'll in turn be followed by Damon Arthur from Bartons Financial Services, who will speak on the thankfully minor superannuation changes announced in the budget. So apart from business and super, the areas I thought I'd touch on, which might be of interest to some of our clients, firstly in relation to the health area, there were significant announcements and increased funding announced in the health and aged care area. And they include things like additional funding for new drugs on the PBS, medical research funding, $1.3 billion new funding over 10 years, aged care, home-based care packages, 10,000 new places, and some new rural retention and incentive plans for GPs and allied health practitioners. Other industries that attracted some benefits include agriculture and tourism hospitality, and in the latter I'll just note that craft brewers have received a reduction in excise, which will be very pleasing to them and the consumers. There's a significant amount of infrastructure funding announced also, with projects all around Australia designed to reduce traffic bottlenecks and other infrastructure issues. So that'll be very welcome across the country, and in South Australia we've got funding for the North-South link on South Road, which will kick off with $1.8 billion of extra federal funding. Overall then, we're broadly supportive of the budget measures with tax cuts and a return to surplus, which is a good thing. However, these tax cuts are mostly being delivered in later years, so who knows what the landscape will be 2 election times away. We should also note the caveat that until the legislation's through, these changes won't be affected, and we have seen in recent years situations where measures haven't been passed, so watch this space. I'd now like to hand over to Ashley Galing to talk about the business and individual tax measures.
As Chris mentioned, the 2019 budget saw a real focus on Middle Australia, particularly in what they call the 7-year personal income tax plan. What that means is they have a focus on increasing the benefits for low and middle income earners. A number of these changes don't kick in for many years to come. However, some of the more initial changes include a non-refundable offset for low and middle income earners, and a change in the 32.5% tax bracket from $87,000 to $90,000, with an aim to combating that bracket creep. Another positive change for our clients was the denial of the increase in the Medicare levy. So in the previous budget, they proposed an increase from 2 to 2.5%. This has now been denied. One of the other positives is the extension of the $20,000 instant asset write-off by 12 months to 30 June 2019. So previously, clients that purchased assets for under $20,000 could expense them in full in the first year, and this was an excellent initiative. However, this has now been extended. In the Bartons office, we are seeing an increase in ATO audit activity, particularly around the areas of compliance and debt obligations. This was mirrored in the budget with a huge increase in funding given to the ATO to target compliance activities and to combat the black economy. Key initiatives they want to introduce in terms of combating the black economy include an economy-wide ban on cash payments over $10,000. All of these payments will now need to go through the banking system in order for the ATO to better match and track those payments. They have also suggested an extension of the taxable payments annual reporting system. So previously, businesses in the building and construction industry needed to report all payments made to contractors. They're proposing an extension of this to other industries such as transport, security, and computer system services. In summary, the 2019 budget announced last night was not revolutionary from a tax perspective, but did see some significant benefits for low and middle income earners. I'm now going to pass you over to Damon Arthur, who's going to talk through any super reforms.
So as Chris alluded to, there's only some minor changes to superannuation this year, which is a nice change from last year, which had the really significant changes. On the face of it, we don't see any real losers, and the changes should by and large be pretty positive. The key highlights would probably be self-managed super funds, maximum members increasing from 4 to 6 members, and also those super funds with a clear audit history of 3 years will now be able to do an audit instead of annually every 3 years should hopefully reduce the costs of those compliant super funds. Some other interesting ones is we don't see that often, but the removal of exit fees from some older products, which have precluded people from exiting those funds just on the basis of the fees, even though they may not be appropriate for them currently. One of the more interesting ones, I think, is the 65 to 74-year-olds now have the opportunity, subject to the passage of legislation, to contribute to super once in one financial year without having to meet the work test. So that creates some opportunities to put some more money into super, and also should allow the concessional catch-up, which was announced at the last budget. One of the other things we've seen noticing is the increase in the income test for working retirees. So that's going to be raising from $6,500 to $7,800 per annum that retirees can earn without impacting their age pension entitlements. The proposed changes also include self-employed people as well for the first time. So that means those people who are self-employed will also come under those same rules, as long as there's a personal exertion component to their employment. We're also seeing that the lifetime pensions are starting to come back into favour, and the testing of them for settling purposes will be more favourable, which should see some increased popularity and take-up of retirees in these products. So overall, relatively modest changes, and it's presenting some planning opportunities for us, and in conjunction with budget measures that have already passed over the last couple of years, retirees are well placed to take advantage of some of these new changes, including downsizing of home and things like that, which have already passed through legislation. So some good times to get some money into super if appropriate, so a good time to chat with your advisor and see what the best course of action moving forward will be.
So if you've got any questions on how the budget will affect you, please talk to your normal Bartons contact. We've also attached a more detailed budget summary to the email with this video. We look forward to seeing you soon.